Imagine a proud local manufacturer has a big piece of vacant land it doesn't need. They'd love nothing more than to sell the land to a home builder and reinvest the proceeds in the state-of-the-art Canadian factory, machines roaring, workers clocking in, paychecks flowing. Canadians get the homes they need. Workers in this factory generate more economic output, driving up their wages and creating even more jobs. And both companies can turn a profit, paying more taxes for social programs. Win, win, win. But there's a big problem. Wham! The capital gains tax would take a big bite out of the sale of the land. So, that local manufacturer decides not to sell it to the home builder. And instead, the land sits vacant, the homes don't get built, and the proceeds of sale are never made available to buy all those machines and hire all those workers. That is what we call the lock-in effect. Bad for investors, worse for our economy. It blocks our businesses from growing, stifles innovation, and keeps us dependent on the U.S. And because investors pass up on selling the asset, they don't actually earn a capital gain, and ironically, the government doesn't collect any tax at all. Lose, lose, lose. Now, I've already told you that I will reverse the Liberal capital gains tax hike. But I will go further. Today I am announcing a plan to unlock billions of dollars in reinvestment to build Canada into an economic fortress against American threats. I will axe the tax on reinvestments in Canada. Here's how it works. Anyone who sells an asset will pay no capital gains tax on whatever proceeds they reinvest in Canada. People can choose to reinvest into Canadian businesses, Canadian stocks, Canadian farms, Canadian home building, and other Canadian investments, fully tax deferred. Companies will get the same tax deferral on any proceeds of sale they reinvest here in Canada. Canadians will only pay capital gains tax on accumulated gains when they cash out for good or take their money out of Canada. This tax break will be available for any capital gains reinvested between July 1st, 2025 to December 31st, 2026. But if it causes as big an economic boom as I expect, you know what? I'll make it permanent. The existing lifetime capital gains exemption for small business owners and farmers will remain unchanged, meaning they can benefit from both this new deferral and their existing exemption. Let's picture a few examples on how this would work in real life. A deli owner can sell and reinvest all the proceeds in a new Canadian company, deferring his taxes. A manufacturing business can reinvest in a new Canadian factory. A rental company can sell one building in order to reinvest in building more apartment complexes that Canadians can afford to live in. A Canadian company that has invested abroad will have a powerful incentive to bring home that investment and buy machines, technologies, factories, build pipelines, or do other things that generate growth and jobs here in Canada. This will bring home tens of billions of dollars of job-creating investment. Here's the thing, government will still get its share, but later and bigger. When investors actually cash out for good without reinvesting, they will pay capital gains tax on all of their investment gains. Meanwhile, the extra investment that will result from this policy will create more jobs and growth, making up for much of the government's short-term lost revenue. My plan to axe the tax on reinvestment will reward those who put their money to work here. We need to bring it home to reverse the lost Liberal decade in which Canada had the worst GDP growth of all of our competitors. We're projected to have the worst growth among all of the nations of the OECD over the next 30 years. Under this Liberal government, $500 billion more Canadian investment is left to the U.S. than has come back. That equals $11,500 per Canadian. Imagine $500 billion of Canadian money building mines, pipelines, factories, and business centers for American workers. Let's bring it home. In 2023, Canadian workers got just 58 cents of investment for every dollar a U.S. worker got. And under the Liberals, we've had the worst per-person economic growth among all our competitors. And all of that was before Trump's tariff. But don't take my word for it.
So our economy was weak before we got to the point of these threats from President Trump.
And that comes from Mark Carney, the very guy who moved his corporate headquarters out of Canada to New York, taking Canadian jobs to the U.S., just like Donald Trump wanted. Giving these Liberals a fourth term will only make things worse. Instead, we need a Canada First government with a bring-it-home tax cut on work, investment, energy, and home building. We will restore Canada's promise that anyone from anywhere can achieve anything, that hard work gets you a great life in a beautiful home, on a safe street, protected by brave troops under a proud flag. Canada First, let's bring it home.